What's going on, everybody? Jay Howe here, and patch 2.2.0 is now available on the PTR for testing, and that's what I wanted to go over as the patch notes. This patch is so big in terms of the new gear changes that I'm doing a separate video for each class. And in this video, I'm doing the Witch Doctor. If you want to check out other classes, look in the description below to be able to check those out as well. In this video with the Witch Doctor, there's not a lot of skill changes, and that's what they said. The active skill Haunt, and this says the skill rune Poison Spirit. Now this is one that they just kind of changed. The bug fixes fixed an issue that prevented this rune from increasing the damage of itself. That's just something that needed to be changed, and that will be taking place. And like I said, that was just something that recently changed, and they're fixing that. Hex. Hex will now turn all enemies within a 12-yard radius into chickens instead of just one enemy. That will be pretty interesting to see what we can make use of out of Hex. There's some cool items out there that I think might be able to utilize this, and we're going to see just how effective this is. Increase the maximum range for both hexing enemies and healing friendlies. Again, that's pretty cool. Minimum time between hex cast by the fetish shaman increased from 3 to 4 seconds. That's okay. We'll be able to make use out of this and have plenty of fun. Duration for which enemies can be hexed reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. That's okay too. You know, there's going to be ways to manipulate this and play with this. I'm going to be messing around with all the different skill changes, all the different gear, and I'm going to be checking a lot of the information out there and bringing all that to you guys so you guys get an idea. If you're not playing the PTR, or if you just like to dabble in it with some of the new stuff, I'll be bringing as much information of that as I possibly can to you. Plague of Toads. This is kind of a downer. It doesn't say what it is. I'm sure that we'll figure this information out, or maybe it was data mined. Reign of Toads. We use this to be able to get our fetish sycophants up, the ones from your passive, or this is one of the highest proccing skills in the game. And this allowed you to get your different legendary gems up, like your Teguk, stuff like that. And so there's going to be some changes around this. I'll get more information on this as we play and see just how it feels in game, and we'll see just how fast that actually procs. Your passive skills, speaking of the fetish sycophants, the proc chance increased from 10 to 15%, which goes hand in hand with the reduction here. So you'll be able to get these up probably around the same pace, but it's going to have some different changes, namely probably when you're fighting reflect damage when you're in those higher greater rifts and you die so quickly because that's so high. Maybe that's one thing. And we're going to get to the gear changes, which are pretty significant, and I'll show you guys those. Like I said, I'm going to be testing a lot of this out. I'm going to be over on Twitch, and you can check me out at twitch.tv/jhow4444, where I'm going to be testing all the different classes, all the different gear, all the different skills, and I'll be able to answer your questions over there. We'll join in and go over all that different stuff. But now let's get to the gear and see what changes we've got. All right, so the Witch Doctor changes are pretty neat. There's some different changes going on to stuff that's already there. Little Man's Finger is a new weapon. Now you might remember Tall Man's Finger, to where instead of having multiple zombie dogs, 3 or 4 depending on what you had, you then had one. This is kind of the opposite effect, and it's kind of neat. The Gargantuan instead summons 3 smaller Gargantuans, each more powerful than the original. I think this is really cool and has the potential to just increase your pet army and add some cool effects in there. I'm really looking forward to this one, and this is one that I definitely want to play with just to see 3 mini Gargantuans running around. That could be pretty neat. Ticklandian Visage. This is the Z DPS helm that pretty much everybody has because it's pretty much required. And it now displays a buff icon indicating the duration of the Horrify effect. And that's pretty good because it gives you a countdown in your buff bar so that you know, all right, I need to cast this again. You have to chain this together in the appropriate areas. And being able to know when to cast this is huge, especially for those top-end players that really want to know exactly what they're doing. And it just is a great thing to add in there. I think this is more of a quality of life change than anything, but it's great that they're putting it in there. The Zunimassa's Haunt. Now, you'll recognize this one because this is the one that generally if you're running a pet Witch Doctor and you don't have a star medal, this is pretty much what you're using, or even with that. New set bonus. It now has a 6-piece set bonus. Enemies hit by your mana spenders take 100% more damage from your pets for 4 seconds. That allows you to get away from the Reign of Toads skill or whatever you were using, to where as a pet witch doctor you didn't spend mana, which, well, you did when you casted piranhas, but outside of that you didn't really spend mana, which was kind of silly. You're a mana character and you're not spending mana in any form or fashion. Generally, if you're going with your regular setup, this gives you an opportunity now to utilize your full arsenal to find out, hey, I want to hit stuff because I want to do damage and not just keep my fetishes up, and allow me to get those fetishes up. They lowered the proc rate. They increased the spawn rate on the fetish sycophants. So now you have an opportunity when you're using your mana spenders. And this is going to give us a chance to do damage passively without just using a primary, but do it, you know, actively with our skills, but also passively with our pets at the same time. And that's really, really good. I'm really excited about that one. Zunimassa's legs, new legendary pants. And I guess this is specific to the pants. I'll be bringing you more information as I get it. But this is obviously as just the pants. You summon a fetish sycophant when you hit with a mana spender. So again, it goes back. If you don't have the pants and you're running a 5-piece in some form or fashion, you'll be able to continue that. You no longer have to rely on Plague of Toads, Reign of Toads. You'll now be able to effectively rely on playing your class, playing the Witch Doctor, and doing damage. Now, I think not only does this allow you to alleviate what you've been doing for so long, which can be boring after times, but it now allows you to do damage. I think it's going to just raise the Witch Doctor to the next level. Right now, they're pretty much near the bottom in terms of how high you can take them in terms of greater refs. I feel that this has potential to really make some huge changes. And I'm looking forward to testing all this, bringing you guys more videos as I get them going, and also streaming them live to you and showing you them in action. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing other videos in regards to the other classes, so make sure and check those out in the description below. There's also going to be a video around the general gameplay and some of just the other changes that aren't necessarily class specific, so check that out as well. And like I said, be on the lookout for more information in the very near future. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, happy hunting. We'll see you again.